what diversity is in general. It's our expectation when we enter the workforce that our uniqueness can shine, yes, and our differences can be expressed. So this expectation of diversity in the work environment is something that is a universal expectation of anybody, whether it's men, women, young, old, doesn't matter. Everybody expects that his or her personal uniqueness can be expressed. Is it safe to be different here? Yeah? This is the real question. Actually, the number one question that is used on diversity these days is what is the percentage of women on the team. Yes? This has become a proxy, an oversimplified proxy on how we measure diversity. Generally say that it's both. Luckily, it's mostly benefit, and I will talk about it for a moment, but let me stop for a moment on the compliance part, because it is also quite important and quite relevant. There are more and more countries that impose rules related to minorities representation and women representation, obviously, in boards, in supervisory boards and management boards and various companies. So there is a compliance element to it, or legal element to it, and I understand this compliance element reflects the social sentiment. This is what the society expects, rightfully so, and I will get to it in a second. So compliance with this is very important. Sharing personal experience, I worked for many years in the Nordic markets, in Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. And in these markets, there are very specific regulations related to the, for example, number of women on supervisory boards, and this is where the quota is met. However, very frequently, including the company I worked for, at the management team level, these are still Western, white males in their mid-50s. Spending obviously lots of time talking about diversity and inclusion, but not really living it on a daily basis. At the same time, I can see that there is a risk that this whole concept, right concept, verges on the edge of becoming just another buzzword, just another hype, there's another fad. I have noticed it in some of my lectures, open lectures recently on different occasions and with different audiences, including the MBA team. There is relatively little interest to talk about diversity and inclusion, which for me is usually a signal that it's not treated seriously enough, that it's just another corporate buzzword, yes, that you have to live with, and people are not really taking it seriously. I generally believe that if this world was managed by women, we would be in a better place today. And it's the same in business, yes? What women are bringing to the party, usually, and most women, is sensitizing everybody to the relationship element in the business environment. So they have a tendency to smooth things out, to look for harmony, to look for accord rather than discord. So they get things done as well, but in a slightly different way, with a softer touch, so to speak. And it's very much needed. This feminine element in managing the business is extremely important. So women in business is a good thing. I had a chance to see it many times firsthand. It's a stereotype, it's an oversimplification, but men generally see objects and they try to acquire them, yes, or conquer them. Whereas women see relationships between objects and they are more inclined to look for harmony between these objects and to improve the relationship between these objects. So men and women in a management team look at the same problem in a completely different way. Representation is not everything. Yes? We have to be able to manage other things. For example, the thing that we are not measuring or reporting in any way at all is inclusion. I personally believe that we have more diversity on every single management or other team today that we are able to exploit and leverage. Yes? So diversity is already there. Inclusion is what unlocks this diversity. But we are not measuring inclusion. But it's not only about compliance, it's also about the mindset, obviously, and the willingness of the management board and the leader, the CEO of the company, to demonstrate diversity and inclusion in his immediate team. Bring more women, or stronger feminine element, which sometimes male can bring as well, but that's another story. And second, distribute the speaking rights, give everybody equal voice, not vote, but give everybody equal voice. And then you maximize both diversity on the team, and you also increase inclusion, and the team becomes more intelligent. Which then answers the question, is it good logic to have more diversity and more inclusion on management teams?